If you make a difference, if you make the world a better place, people will have no choice but to think you are remarkable. As a lesson in life, if you are always looking for the perfect wave, the perfect product, the perfect service, the perfect book, the perfect photo, the perfect movie, the perfect project, the perfect, whatever, you're never going to accomplish anything. At some point, you just have to turn and burn and start paddling.
That's Guy Kawasaki. He's currently the chief evangelist of Canva and was the former chief evangelist of Apple. He's also the host of the Remarkable People podcast, where he interviews remarkable people like Jane Goodall, Steve Wozniak, and Robert Cialdini. Using his decades of experience in Silicon Valley as a venture capitalist and advisor to the top entrepreneurs in the world, Guy's mission is to make everyone realize their potential to be remarkable. So you'll learn 1, the 3 keys to becoming remarkable, 2, how to effectively sell your dreams, and 3, why there's no such thing as perfect timing. I'm Pete Mockaitis. This is How to Be Awesome at Your Job. And now, here's Guy. Guy, welcome. I'm excited to chat. Now, you're an experienced interviewer yourself. You've interviewed some remarkable people. Tell me, any particularly super memorable moments that you'd like to share with regard to that adventure?
Certainly, interviewing Jane Goodall, actually twice, those are very memorable moments. I mean, if you had to pick someone that you wanted to interview, Jane Goodall would be right up there, right? And so that's the 2 Jane Goodall recordings. And then one of the funniest things that happened is that, believe it or not, of all people in the world, Margaret Atwood is the first person to drop an F-bomb on my podcast. Oh. Now, I thought for sure, I was like waiting for the Gary V episode. I figure he's going to drop a few for sure, just saying hello. But Margaret beat him to the punch. What can I say?
That's fun. And I'm curious, what is it about Jane Goodall's message, life, work, vibe that really resonate with you?
I mean, how can you not love Jane Goodall? She's 90 years old. She travels 300 days a year. And her kind of travel is very difficult because she's on deck from, the time she wakes up to the time she goes to sleep. I know when I travel, I'm making a keynote speech. I really have to be on for about 1 hour. The rest of the time I can be like not so on. But Jane Goodall is on the whole time. And just the love and passion and empathy and concern she has for the welfare of people in the world it's just so obvious. I mean, she's truly a remarkable person.
Lovely. Well, I'm excited to hear about the wisdom you've got for us in your book, Think Remarkable, 9 Paths to Transform Your Life and Make a Difference. And you're a remarkable person yourself, Guy, with the remarkable title. And if you could actually indulge me for a couple minutes, I've wondered about this for years, and now is my chance.
Okay.
All right.
Well, let's end this problem for you.
Okay. All right. So you are the chief evangelist of Canva.
Yes.
And formerly the chief evangelist of Apple.
Yes.
Tell me, in some detail, I've got follow-ups. What does the role of chief evangelist truly mean?
The role of the chief evangelist. Well, first of all, going back to Greece, the word evangelism comes from Greek roots, and it means bringing the good news. So I bring the good news of Canva today, how it has democratized design and enables people to be better communicators. Way back when, I was the chief evangelist and software evangelist for Apple. So I was bringing the good news of Macintosh. So what a chief evangelist does is he or she is kind of the person that's the most visible as, this is the person who truly believes it's going to get you to believe in our dream as much as we do. And he's bringing good news, and it's kind of a cheerleader marketing sales position. It's the purest form of sales. And it's the purest form of sales because an evangelist has not just his or her own interests at heart, but also the other person's interests at heart.
Well, it sounds beautiful, and it's like, I think I want to be one. And I think maybe some of our listeners would like that as well. So just very fundamentally, what is the nature of your relationship between, say, you and Canva or you and Apple? Are you like an investor, advisor, a full-time employee, a contractor, a marketing affiliate, a customer and super fan? Like what is that?
When I was a software evangelist for the Macintosh division, round one, I was an employee. When I was chief evangelist round two, I was also an employee, but also an Apple fellow. And that is not a line position. It's more kind of an honorary kind of title, fellow, but I was a working fellow. I had a real task to do, not just sit around thinking about the future. Most Apple fellows are engineering and tech visionaries, and I was just a marketing schlepper. So that was unusual there. Now for Canva, when I met Canva 10 years ago, they offered me this position and I made a very wise decision. I said, I don't want salary. I want everything in stock. So I took everything in stock, and I was really the first person in the United States. So they really didn't have I guess there's a bunch of legal things you have to do to legally employ a person. So I was not employed. I've been a contractor technically for all these years. And now they have hundreds of employees in America. But we just never did anything. And, Canva is doing so well. I couldn't hurt it if it tried. They don't, they don't need to make me sign any piece of paper at this point.
All right. And so then when you interface with Apple or Canva, are you, quote unquote, reporting to or working with, say, the VP of marketing or the CEO or the board or whoever wants to say, hey, Guy, spread some good news over here?
Well, when I was the Apple chief evangelist, I reported to a vice president of R&D, I think his title was. This was Don Norman. And then later on, I moved over to the marketing department. So, they shoved me into the functional area. Now, when I started with Canva, there were only, 10 people. So it was kind of dealing directly with the co-founders. And now in the 10th year, I'm just kind of hanging out there and I'm just doing very high level stuff. And I speak for them and I continue to carry the flag, but it's not like I'm punching a clock and it's not like I'm issuing, monthly progress reports or anything like that.
Understood. Now, Guy, if I or a listener aspire to become a chief evangelist, what does that path look like?
Okay. So I think the path for an evangelist is that you truly, truly love the product. And that's the start. So I think the key to an evangelist is that you love the product. And for you to love the product has to be really great. So the key to evangelism is you evangelize or you create or you affiliate with something great, because it is really hard to evangelize shit. Trust me, I have tried a few times in my life. So that's the key. Now, many companies have not yet understood or embraced the concept of hiring an evangelist. It seems like focused mostly in tech because they kind of copied what Apple did. But the function of bringing the good news and getting people to believe in your dream as much as possible, that's what it does. I wouldn't worry about the title so much.
All right. Thank you. So this is clear. I've wondered about this for more than a decade. What does it mean when Guy Kawasaki says he's a chief evangelist? That is settled.
You should have contacted me earlier. You didn't have to think about this for 10 years.
I could rest easy. Well, I just sort of heard of you. He's like, oh yeah, Guy Kawasaki. Okay, sure. Well, now, so there's that. Let's talk about your book. Think Remarkable, 9 Paths to Transform Your Life and Make a Difference. What's the main thesis, core idea here?
I think the main core, the thesis here is that if you make a difference, if you make the world a better place, people will have no choice but to think you are remarkable. So basically the book, I would not characterize this book as a self-help book that it's like, okay, you've decided to be remarkable. Day one, when you wake up, this is what you do. You're like, I don't know, you change your LinkedIn profile, you write a white paper, you start talking at TEDx or something like that. That's not it at all. The assumption is that if you make a difference, people will have no choice but to think you are remarkable. And I want people to be empowered to make a difference. That's the key to me.
Okay. Well, could you kick us off with a cool story of someone who followed a path that looks a lot like what you've laid out in the book and what unfolded for them?
Well, I would not say that there is no single path, right? I mean, Jane Goodall, from the time she was a kid till today, she loves animals and she loves nature. So she's stuck with that her whole life. Julia Child, as another example, until her mid-30s, she was a spook. And then she got married and she moved to France, fell in love with French cooking, and she became the French chef. So you can make big changes in your life too. But what I noticed after interviewing 250 of these people is that they all go through this phase of growth where Julia Child acquires new skills in French cooking. Jane Goodall started in secretarial school, went to Africa, and she studied the chimps. And then she went back and got a PhD after she did all that. And that's a completely different path. But that also showed growth. And the flip side of growth is grit. Because if you're growing, if you're learning new things, you're not going to be instantly successful. You have to have perseverance and passion. And then the third phase, I think, and the phase that not everybody makes it to, is that you have to become gracious, which is you realize that you're lucky, you're fortunate, people have helped you. It's not just your own growth and grit, but good fortune, good people have helped you. So you owe it back to the universe to help others succeed too. And Jane Goodall is a great example of that. I'll give you a negative example. So until 3 or 4 years ago, I would have told you that Elon Musk is the closest person there is to Steve Jobs in terms of world-changing ideas and technology. But I think that he has totally flunked the third chapter, which is grace and graciousness, right? So, I mean, you would not say that Elon Musk is gracious. Well, not the new Elon Musk anyway.
All right. So I hear you. Growth, grit, grace, 3 components. And it sounds like super achievers may not always exhibit all 3 of the stages, but they probably have growth and grit. And whether they choose to use their progress and stature for good or evil can go either way. Is that fair to say as a summary?
Yes, that is fair. And listen, I'm a very optimistic guy, despite my criticisms of various systems and things. But I think with a life of growth and grit where you're making a difference and you're making the world a better place for people, you're probably going to end up being graceful and gracious. Maybe Elon is an outlier there, because you cannot debate that Elon Musk more or less single-handedly made the automotive industry go electric. And you cannot debate that the automotive industry going electric is not a good thing for the world. It is a good thing for the world, right? So he has made a difference. He's made the world a better place. I just wish he would embrace some grace and graciousness.
Understood. Well, then, can you walk us through a little bit? So within the growth, grit, and grace, each has 3 subcomponents. Could you give us a quick overview of these 9 chapters?
The quick overview of the 9 chapters is growth, grit, and grace. So I'm a big fan of Carol Dweck, Stanford University psychology professor. And she basically makes this dichotomy that if you have a growth mindset, you believe you can acquire new skills, you can do new things. If you have a fixed mindset, you believe you cannot. And you also, if you are successful and you have a fixed mindset, you believe you don't have to grow, which is arguably even worse. The grit mindset is Angela Duckworth's. She's the mother of grit. And it's about persevering when things don't go right and learning from failure. And the grace mindset, I think, it's mostly this understanding that when you are successful, you have an obligation to society. And there's 188 tactics in this book. This book is extremely, extremely tactical and practical.
Okay, cool. Well, let's dig into some of them then. So under stage 1, growth, talk about the growth mindset. We've had a few guests discuss that concept. Tell us, are there any misconceptions about the growth mindset, or are there times where you yourself find you're drifting into some fixed mindset type thinking? And what do you do when you find yourself there?
Yeah. So one of the things that I learned after the book was done, there's a protege of Carol Dweck. Her name is Mary Murphy. And she made the brilliant observation that the growth mindset is primarily in your head, right? So in your head, you believe you can grow or you believe you cannot. But she says that as important is the environment that you're in. Because if you have a growth mindset, but you're in a fixed mindset organization, you're going to be very unhappy. And if you have a fixed mindset and you are in a growth mindset organization where this organization wants you to learn new things and you cannot rest on your laurels, you are also going to be very unhappy. So that's something that if I could do it all over again, I would include that. And I pride myself on having a growth mindset, and it's because of Carol Dweck's book. And like at 44, I took up ice hockey, having never skated before. At 60, I took up surfing, having never surfed before. And let's just say that when you take up hockey or surfing that late in life, you pretty much have a growth mindset. You cannot not have a growth mindset and do those things.
All right. Well, then chapter 3 under growth, you say plant many seeds. Can you unpack this idea for us and some of your favorite tactics?
Yes. So planting many seeds means that in order to grow, you have to collect a lot of data. You have to do a lot of sampling. You have to take a lot of shots. And I bring in this example of I cut down these eucalyptus trees in my backyard and I wanted to replant the hill. And so I wanted to put in native oaks. And I learned that with native oaks, you got to put in a lot of acorns and you have no idea which acorn is going to be a seedling, then a sapling, then a tree. And it actually takes 20 years to get from acorn to tree. So, that's a metaphor for life. You gather a lot of acorns, you put them in water. The ones that float are dead. You throw those out. Then you put them in this preparation stage where you cover them with a cloth and moisture, and you put them in your refrigerator and you simulate winter for the acorn. Then come spring, you stick it in the ground and you put a lot of them out because not everyone is going to take root. And then you wait 20 years. You need to collect a lot of samples and you need to plant a lot of acorns to figure it out.
Well, what I'm noticing about the metaphor, which is rather beautiful, is that, and practical, is that along the way with each of the steps or phases, you're getting some information and you're saying, oh, okay, don't pursue these, the floaters versus the sinkers. Yeah. All right. And then you get the refrigerator situation, like, oh, okay, don't pursue these. And so you're already sort of whittling it down to this is the most promising thing that looks like it might really take off.
Yeah. So you plant a lot of acorns after those first couple processes, and then some of them take root. So you got to protect those from the deer, right? And then you got to be patient. It's a very good metaphor for life.
I hear you. All right. Well, I guess with all the tactics, any particular tactics you recommend in the planting seeds department?
Well, I think the most important tactic is it's a numbers game. You got to plant a lot of seeds. And, going back to my Macintosh history, we evangelize hundreds of companies to create Macintosh software. And we thought initially, we thought we had it all figured out, right? You need spreadsheet, you need database, and you need word processor. But lucky for us, there was this acorn called Aldous PageMaker, and Aldous PageMaker became a mighty oak called desktop publishing. But I got to tell you, we did not plan desktop publishing. It's not like we said, oh, we're so insightful. This computer is great for desktop publishing. Nobody knew what desktop publishing was. People were still setting hot type, melting lead. And that is a great example of thank you, God, that we're planting many seeds. And one of them was Aldous PageMaker.
Okay. And then in stage 2, grit, your chapter, Sell Your Dream. You've been evangelizing for a long time. Any favorite tactics in the realm of selling dreams?
Yeah. My favorite tactic in the realm of selling dreams is a demo. I believe that a demo is worth 1,000 slides. Well, actually, it's not completely geared towards tech. Now, in tech, obviously, you can have alpha software, you can have a rough website, you can have a hardware prototype. So it's easy to see how you can create this, demo. I mean, to take an extreme example, if you were trying to create a new restaurant and you wanted to evangelize your restaurant, I mean, maybe you start with a food truck serving that kind of food, or, you start off with a pop-up restaurant, or, something like that. There's people who serve meals at their houses. So, there's always a way to figure out, like, how do you prove the concept? How do you test the concept? Not just cogitate it, not just talk about it, but actually let people touch and feel and eat your concept. I love the demo.
Okay. And then any clever ways you recommend we go about doing the demonstrations? So we got a food truck, we got a pop-up and software. It's like, hey, here, look at it. You see how it does the thing you like. So any other clever ways you recommend we do the demo to sell the dream?
Well, in software, this may be the most obvious to people. In software, I think the key to a demo is not to show what it can do, but to show how you can do it. And let me use Canva as an example. So yes, I could have all these finished graphics in Canva and just go from page to page and show beautiful PowerPoint, beautiful Instagram, beautiful Etsy, beautiful infographic, beautiful resume, beautiful, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't think that's that effective a demo. I think the effective demo is, okay, so let's start with your photo and let's make this into a book cover. So here's the collection of Canva book cover templates. Now let's scroll down here. Oh, we like this template. Let's click on this template. Now let's upload our cover photo and let's change the text from the generic text on the template to your book's title. And in 5 minutes, you would have a very nice book cover design in Canva. So you showed how, not what. And I think that's the best demo.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense, because in that context, that really delivers you the, oh, wow, kind of a moment.
Yes.
Like, that was 5 minutes and this looks just about ready to go. That's amazing. Holy crap, I got to buy this.
Let me tell you something. In 5 minutes in Photoshop, you may just barely be finished installing it.
All right. Well, when it comes to grace, what do you mean by turn and burn?
Well, turn and burn is actually at the conclusion of the book. It's not grace per se, but turn and burn is a surfing metaphor. So I can explain a lot of life in surfing. So most of surfing is spent waiting in the water, hoping you're in the right place for the wave to come to you and to break at the right time, and et cetera, et cetera. But as a lesson in life, if you are always looking for the perfect wave, the perfect product, the perfect service, the perfect book, the perfect photo, the perfect movie, the perfect project, the perfect, whatever, you're never going to accomplish anything. At some point, you just have to turn and burn and start paddling. And that's a very important lesson. There are many entrepreneurs, they spend just years and years thinking about, this is what I'd like to do, and I'm doing research. And at some point, as Steve Jobs once said, real entrepreneurship, there's no truer word than that. Now, after turn and burn, my last recommendation in the book is that rather than focusing on, did I make the right decision or not? Instead, you focus on making your decision right, because making the perfect decision is very difficult, if not impossible. You just cannot know everything and predict the future. So at some point, you take your best shot and you paddle, and then you make that wave work.
Okay. All right. Well, Guy, tell me anything else you want to make sure to mention before we shift gears and hear about some of your favorite things.
No, that's good. I mean, I just want people to know that, man, I think I've created the best book ever for how to make a difference and how to be remarkable.
Big thanks to Guy for sharing his wisdom with us. And big thanks to our sponsors. Check them out. One sponsor to check out is Harvard Business Review. This brilliant magazine, published at hbr.org, is the leading destination for smart management thinking. Fun fact, HBR has been mentioned in 108 episodes of the show. That's because HBR has great stuff that comes up often. They've got explainer videos, podcasts, real-world case studies, and much more. I think of HBR each night that I put on my special orange glasses. Their article, Will Blue Light Glasses Improve Your Sleep?, revealed that those who wore them reported better sleep and a 7% improvement in work performance as compared to those who wore the sham glasses. So I cite HBR anytime anyone tells me that I look silly wearing them. Now, much of HBR's content is available for free when you sign up at their site. Subscriptions that get you unlimited content cost $10 a month. If you visit hbr.org/subscriptions and enter the promo code AWESOME, you can save 10% off of that subscription. Again, to save 10% off of your HBR subscription, go to www.hbr.org/subscriptions and enter the promo code AWESOME. And big thanks to our sponsor, Acorns. Acorns makes it easy to start automatically saving and investing for your future. You don't need a lot of money or expertise to invest with Acorns. In fact, you can get started with just your spare change. Acorns recommends an expert-built portfolio that fits you and your money goals, then automatically invests your money for you. NerdWallet.com, whom I love on these sorts of matters, gives Acorns a whopping 4.7 stars and says, quote, if you want to make the most of your spare change, there's no better place to do that than Acorns. Head to acorns.com/awesome or download the Acorns app to start saving and investing for your future today. And we got a legal disclaimer here. It may not be representative of all clients. Tier 1 compensation provided. Compensation provides an incentive to positively promote Acorns. View important disclosures at acorns.com/awesome. Investing involves risk, including the loss of principal. Please consider your objectives, risk tolerance, and Acorns' fees before investing. Acorns Advisors LLC, Acorns, is an SEC-registered investment advisor. Brokerage services are provided to clients of Acorns by Acorns Securities LLC, member FINRA/SIPC. For more information, visit acorns.com. One sponsor to check out is Storyworth. Whenever I'm thinking about meaningful Father's Day gifts, Storyworth leaps to mind. Storyworth helps you preserve precious memories and stories from your father for years to come. Each week, Storyworth emails your loved ones a thought-provoking question that you get to help pick, such as, what's the bravest thing you've ever done? I personally love the prompt so much that I have refreshed Storyworth's questions page many times looking for more. Storyworth makes the writing process super quick and easy. All your loved one needs to do is respond to that email with a story, and then you get a quick copy of that. And after a year of this fun, Storyworth compiles your loved one's stories and photos into a beautiful keepsake hardcover book that you'll be able to share and revisit for generations to come. Families love Storyworth so much, they've got 25,000 five-star reviews on Trustpilot and have millions of stories preserved. So give all the fathers in your life a unique, heartfelt gift they'll all cherish for years. Storyworth. Right now, you can save $10 on your first purchase when you go to storyworth.com/awesome. That's storyworth.com/awesome to save $10 on your first purchase. Okay. Well, now could you share with us a favorite quote, something you find inspiring?
Okay. My favorite quote is a Chinese proverb. And the Chinese proverb is, you have to stand by the side of a river a very long time before the Peking duck will fly in your mouth. In other words, Peking ducks don't fly in your mouth. You got to go out and kill the duck and cook it.
All right. And a favorite study or experiment or bit of research?
My favorite study or a bit of research is probably the video by Dan Simon. And he did this research where he showed, it's called Invisible Gorilla.
Oh, yeah.
So in Invisible Gorilla, they have these college students wearing black and white t-shirts, and you're instructed to count how many times the kids in the black t-shirts are tossing the beach ball. And in the middle of that, this guy comes out dressed as a gorilla and goes, ooh, 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 ooh. And only half of the people notice the gorilla because they're so focused on counting the beach balls. And I think that's a very important thing about making things noticeable and, what could be on. How can something be so obvious and people not see it? Half the people didn't see the gorilla, which is, to me, just amazing. And I hope I always see the gorilla.
Mm-hmm. And a favorite book?
My favorite book is a book called If You Want to Write by Brenda Euland. Now, obviously, it's for writers, but if you substitute any creative endeavor for the word write, it'll work for you. If you want to paint, if you want to play music, if you want to make movies, if you want to be an entrepreneur. This book is about empowerment. And the gist of the book is if you want to write, don't wait for permission. That permission could come externally, like, oh, you passed the creative writing course, or you have a master's in English, okay? Or it could be internal. I took the creative course. I have a master's in English. Now I can be a writer. Brenda Yulin is saying, if you want to write, write. If you want to program. If you want to be an entrepreneur, start a company. You don't need permission. You don't need certification. You don't need to do anything. Just do it.
Okay. And a favorite tool you use that helps you be awesome at your job?
By far, the center of my universe is a Macintosh. So I could not function without a Macintosh. And then I have a second favorite tool, which is, I don't know if you know this, but I am deaf. And I am deaf so I can hear because of a cochlear implant. And I became deaf about 3 years ago. And I'll tell you that cochlear implant has made a huge difference in the quality of my life because it enables me to go from being deaf to just having really lousy hearing. So that's a big deal.
Beautiful.
Oh, and you wanted a digital tool, right?
Oh, well, I guess you said Macintosh, but if you got another one, I'll take it.
Well, okay, yeah. I mean, I guess you could say Macintosh is a digital tool, but I also, you may find this astounding, but I am a hardcore Microsoft Word user. I use Microsoft Word to write my books. I use style sheets for every paragraph of my manuscript. And I constantly flip between the outline view and the print view. And I'm a hardcore user of Microsoft Word.
Microsoft Word on Mac and not PC?
Yes. Yeah. No, I never touch a PC. There's two things I will not use, a PC and a Tesla.
Okay. And a favorite habit?
I always clean the filter in our dryer from lint after drying clothes. Every time. I always clean the lint filter.
Okay. Wise words. And is there a particular nugget you share that people tend to quote back to you often and you're known for?
I tell the Peking ducks quote a lot, so I get fed back that. I also tell people that you should never ask people to do something that you yourself would not do. Now, this assumes that you're not some kind of psychopath, but assuming that, that's a very good way to go through life. Just don't ask people to do something you yourself would not do.
All right. And if folks want to learn more or get in touch, where would you point them?
It's hard to avoid me. I mean, if you use Google, you just type Guy Kawasaki and you'll get more responses than you possibly want. But there is GuyKawasaki.com. That's my website. That's primarily brochureware. If you really wanted to interact with me, the best way is email. So I'm GuyKawasaki@gmail. It's hard to remember, right? My name at Gmail. And yeah, that's it. I'm like an open book.
All right. And do you have a final challenge or call to action for folks looking to be awesome at their jobs?
I may lose a lot of readers when I tell you this, but this is the truth. I think that one of the most important things you can realize to be awesome at your job is to understand that you should try to make your boss look good. I think many people think, oh, my job, I want to get ahead. I'm going to make my boss look bad. I want to, show that I'm better than my boss and they're going to fire my boss and give me the promotion. I have never seen that happen. I think the much more mature, productive, and remarkable perspective is my job is to make my boss look good. And if my boss looks good, he or she is going to get promoted and I'm going to be drafting along. And then finally that my boss is going to be so good that I'm going to have such a halo effect on me that it's going to enable me to branch out and take a new job, get funding, whatever. But it's all based on, make your boss look good. Don't try to make your boss look bad. There's very little upside in that.
All right, Guy, this has been fun. I wish you many more remarkable conversations and adventures.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All the best to you.
I really appreciated Guy's perspective about be on the lookout for the perfect wave, the perfect product, the perfect movie, etc. Because there is no perfect. You just have to turn and burn and start paddling. That notion is so handy because I think waiting for the perfect or seeking the perfect can really slow me down. And I've seen it right now, even with this podcast. It's like, oh yeah, we're going to get the video going. feel like I've got the perfect camera, the perfect lens, the perfect lights. And then I look at my first videos and I go, oh, my eye contact is all weird with the camera. It's like, you know what? The perfect video is not going to happen. It ain't going to happen the first time, especially. So be forewarned. You will be receiving some imperfect videos if you happen to want to become a watcher in addition to a listener of How to Be Awesome at Your Job when those come out in the upcoming weeks and months. So it will be imperfect and it's all good. You learn and grow and become remarkable from there. Great stuff from Guy. If you want to check out the show notes or the transcript or the links to items that we've referenced, please pay us a visit at awesomeatyourjob.com/EP966. Hope to catch you next time, and peace.